What up? What up? It's your boy Blanky Anthony with my main man, Big Game, James Cannida, up here on Sports Talk49. Going to do the weekly Overreaction Show, talking about the Bucks versus the Panthers. Of course, I got former Tampa Bay Buccaneer defensive tackle James Cannida here, and he's going to share his perspective on everything. And we're just going to digress everything in its entirety and have fun while we're doing it. James, what's going on, my brother?
Man, Blake, appreciate you having me on, man. It's crazy. This ride that the Buccaneers have been on this year has been enough to drive you crazy, make you alcoholic and all kind of everything else, man.
I just finished my drink, man. Shit, they got me. It's driving me. Shit, I'm out.
Oh shoot, like, bruh, what is up with this? What is really going on?
Got Big James on. He's been busy, coaching, doing, living life. Doing his thing, so we got him back on here to talk about this game. The Bucks get back to 6-6, 500 when they dig themselves out of the hole and ended up getting I thought it was going to be an L, 26-23 win over the Panthers. James, you want to kick it off? Where you want to start, man? I'm gonna bounce after you since it's been a while since we've been together on here. Where you want to start,
man? Just a while. First of all, watching that game and then to see how it was transpiring. First and foremost, the damn kicker. Oh, you got one job, man. You got one job. Especially with this new safe landing zone area shit. The ball has to land in that landing area. And if not, it's going to get spotted at the 40-yard line, right? And then the shank punt. But needless to say, when they went down, the Buccaneers scored go ahead. I'm like, cool. Then when that kickoff came and it went out of bounds, and I was like, oh, shit, here we go. We in trouble.
It is.
They put the drive. And to see Thielen catch that ball and look like the old Adam Thielen, I was like, damn. All days, this day that he decided to be a playmaker like he once was and make one hell of a play and a catch. I honestly thought it was over there. I was like, that's it, we're done.
When that kickoff happened and then the Adam Thielen thing happened, what the first thing that came in my mind was this.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
That's what I thought, right? That's exactly what I thought right at that moment.
Oh, shoot.
But, yeah, man, you said they did the whole game I'm watching. I know you're talking about the later part of it. I like to tell stories in its entirety. I said the whole thing, bro, y'all are doing everything possible to lose this game.
Oh, yeah, it looked like it.
It's like you're purposely doing it. You go up 7. Great. We come out here, boom, boom, boom. Get right down here, punch it in. All right. Defense gets a stop. Then three straight possessions. You get pre-snap penalties, 9 yards total.
Yep.
Baker throws a pick. You go outside. You guys ain't satisfied till you're behind in this game. I can clearly see that. You're not satisfied till you're behind. Then it happened. Panthers missed multiple field goals, which that could have changed the complexity in the game, but that's
big time. Yep.
That's another part of the game that nobody's going to talk about, the missed field goals in that game. And they did everything possible from special teams to ill-advised defensive penalties and most of it was the offense. I know everybody doesn't want to talk about Baker and that, and we'll talk about that whole conversation later on too. But he didn't help himself neither. Along with the offense, it was missed blocks, pre-snap penalties. It was just they did everything possible to lose this game. And the crazy part, there was a lot of false start penalties. And I don't know if people caught that. It wasn't the offensive lineman. It was the wide receivers going offside. It was 15 and 17 jumping offside. So I'm like, bro, you just look down the line.
That's it. Just look straight down the line and watch the ball.
You can't hear the snap count anyway from out there. So all you're doing is looking down the line of scrimmage, waiting for the ball to move. What do you got, James?
It was tough, and you're right. And Blake, I tried not to touch on all the pre-snap penalties early because those are the small things. From a player standpoint and perspective, there's a lot of, we always say control the controllables. You know that as a former player and everything, right? Yeah. Control the controllables. So the pre-snap penalties where it's a false start or illegal formation or shift or whatever happens, those are the things and the small intricate details that you work on through the week. So when it comes game time, it's automatic and second nature. You've got to be able to control those things. And when you see it happening, you're like, why shoot ourselves in the foot? And then you have to know in your mind coming in facing your former offensive coordinator that Canales was going to try to make it a point for them to be able to play probably their best game by far this season, I think, which still wasn't the greatest. But Carolina looked better than I know that I even thought that they would going into this game. They looked a little bit better. So not being able to control those controllables and giving them life and hope are the things you can't do if you want to be a team that's going to make it to have a chance to get back in the division race, get to the playoffs, and have success in the playoffs. Because you can just get there, but if you execute the way you executed this past Sunday, it's gonna be you're gonna be home watching for the rest of it. It's gonna be one and done.
Absolutely. Like you said, Canales wanted to prove something. He's coming back playing his team. His team hasn't looked too good. He's trying to fix in disarray Carolina Panthers. Mostly the Panthers are in bad shape because of their owner, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, that's a whole nother show, right?
A whole nother conversation, a whole nother show, especially with the comments Cam Newton made about him not being anywhere in the state. Like I said, that's a whole nother conversation.
Man, did that blow your mind too?
Yeah, like I said, that's a whole other conversation.
Okay.
Whole other time.
Okay.
Boy. I digress. Lord. Hey, you want to come back and show them up. You know, of course you do. You want to show your former employer, but I mean, Canales really has no ill will. I mean, essentially, that's what you want to do. You want to become an OC,
right.
Coaching job, and that's kind of what you want to do. So I don't think there was really no ill will, but you kind of want to play your guys and play against them and stuff like that. But Canales is starting to right the ship. Benching Bryce Young. Bryce Young got to watch from the sideline a little bit and learn how to be a quarterback in this league. And he's had 3 straight games where he didn't turn the ball on. Everybody looks at people's records and go, oh, well, you should have blown him out. I'm like, if you've ever played this game, you play your division opponents different. The freaking Raiders almost took out the Chiefs. They're division guys. They know them best. Yep, so you don't think the Carolina Panthers don't know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because you play them twice a year? Every year, and kind of like you said earlier, you didn't help yourself either. Panthers were kind of laying down early, but you kept giving them life. You kept giving them the defibrillator. You kept giving them a chance to stay in this game. And when you do that to a bad team, they start building confidence. And that's exactly what happened with the 30 seconds left in the game. Thrown touchdown pass to Adam Thielen in the back of the end zone. And Baker Mayfield coming back from an ankle injury to throw a pick the very next play. Like, it was just one. It's like if you could just, I said it before, but I can't keep reiterating it. You did everything possible to lose this game on every aspect of the game, from offense to defense to special teams. You did everything possible to lose this game.
Yeah, it was tough to stomach. It really was. And I don't usually get animated watching games to an extent, right? It's like I watch it, I try to see what's going on, to be able to talk about the plays I saw, what can be the difference of the game. But it was just like, you know, my family, my kids, like, my son was like, Dad, what, you good? I'm like, yeah. He said, man, I ain't heard you like that before. You going crazy. I was like, because it's self-inflicted wounds. We about to lose to one of the worst teams in the league because of how we're playing, not because they're a better team than us. I was like, I can't stand watching bad football. And it's just like, you always talk about it as you play. You know, you always hear coaches say it, don't stoop down to your competition. But, you know, I always say this, at a professional level, that statement to me should never be said. It should have to be said. I take that back. It's going to be said because it's the coach's job to remind you. But as a true professional, you shouldn't have to hear, don't stoop down to your opponent's level, in a sense where you know those guys on the other side of the ball, they get paid just like you do. Like you just made the great point of saying, it's a division game. What do you want to do? I may lose everywhere else, but if I can win this division game, it shows that we have a chance to compete later on as we get through this division. So it's always going to be a better effort. But if you know that's the case, you come out laser focused, ready to play. And hell, we went on the bad string, guys. It's not like y'all could just afford to come out willy-nilly like everything's peaches and cream. You got to go make it a point to show the Falcons that you about to get back on their ass and try to make a run at this thing.
Yeah, and the Falcons, they get in the later part of the season, Kirk Cousins throwing a crazy 4 interception game, taking
Kirk
an L.
Kirkin.
Kirk is Kirkin around this time of year. They're getting the harder part of the schedule now. and he's not looking very good, and Tampa very well could get themselves a decent lead because they don't want to be in a tie-breaking situation because they're going to lose that situation. You want to get more of a tie-breaking situation with the Washington Commanders because you have a head-to-head over them. So kind of rooting for Washington to stay where they're at and stay in that position because you're going to get the nod over them in that. But that playoff situation, we'll wait and see how that full comes down to later on. Let's go to the box score a little bit. I like to bring that up and talk about stuff because we always miss stuff when you get in these conversations. So let's put this up. Let me full screen it. Where is it at? There it is. So Bucs scored majority of their points in the fourth quarter, 13, which ended up putting them in the position to come back in that game. Mayfield, 21 for 33, 235, a touchdown. And the part that really put the Panthers in the game was the 2 INTs. Bryce Young, 26 for 46, 298, and a touchdown pass. 3 games in a row, no turnovers. A big one we didn't even touch on yet was Bucky Irvin, 125 for 152 and a touchdown. That's not even including receiving.
Right.
Bucs shut down the run like they always do, but the problem has been is secondary. We'll get into that later. Mike led the team, 8 receptions, 118, 100 and a touchdown. Needs about 96 yards a game to get over 1,000, depending on what he gets this week against the Raiders, which he should possibly get some, another 100-yard game, depending on his health and depending on Mayfield finds him. Levante led in tackles. They had 1 sack of Calais Cansey. They missed several sacks early in the game, which led the Panthers to put some points on the board.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what the story of the game was. You could pretty much know the rest. Let me back out of that. Now, I bring that up. You played. A lot of people I like to try to talk this instead of just talking crap back to fans, the stuff that you see in Facebook groups and online. You played this game. When it's pre-snap penalties and small things, like basic things that you've done your entire career from Pee-wee to the NFL, like pre-snap penalties, not jumping off sides, ill-advised holding calls, lining up incorrectly when you've been shown how to line up correctly all week. Is that a coaching thing or is that held on to the players, speaking as a player as yourself?
It goes a little bit of both. I think, a big part of me wants to put it on the player. But at the same time, how is it being corrected when it happens during the game? Are you pulling that player for a play, talk to them about it, get on it when they come off the sideline? 9 out of 10 times you are. It depends on the coach. I know if it was any pre-snap thing done, you almost hated to go to the sideline when I was playing because you knew Rod Marinelli was going to rip into your ass. Monty Kiffin was going to get into that ass. Like it was
giving you the death story.
And the bad thing is, I remember one time we playing against the Broncos down there. Sap breaks his hand. I have to go in, and on the field, it looks like I just totally busted a stunt assignment. I think we had a stab call, a pirate call, and I was supposed to be taking my go move to A gap, and then we called another one later where the strong safety was coming down. But the strong safety messed up. But from the sideline, it looked like I totally just busted on my assignment. And I remember man, I got to hear this shit it was early in the series. And I'm like, man, the only thing I thought about was how I'm going to get yelled at and cussed out when I got to the sideline because it looked like I blew my assignment. And I'm not going to put my safety on blast right now. I'm like, say, dog, you got to hit that hole, bro. Then later on, watching film, they're like, hey, James, you were in the right spot. We got to feel that right from the backside. We came down on the wrong side, so it looked like you went the wrong way. So it depends on how it was handled and how it's handled now in this regime. I'm not going to lie. It looks real calm. You go to home games. I'm watching everything from afar. The sideline looks very peaceful to where I don't know how much correction is getting done to hold, to hold that accountability on the sideline when these guys come off the field from the mistakes they make.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you pay assistants for. And you coach at a high school level, and I was assistant coach at a high school coaching. When those guys come off, I'm like, what do you see? What's happening? What are you doing? I'm like, what happened on this? Why didn't you stump when you were supposed to stump? That's what you pay assistants for, because the head coach, granted, he can come over and say stuff when they need to say stuff, but his job is to focus on the entire
everything. Yeah, exactly.
It's a big thing. That's why you hire assistants. And so you say your piece. You're like, hey, John, you need to get on Blake about blah 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 blah. All right, go over there. That's what you pay them for.
Right.
That's how it works. I know everybody like to, oh, he's the head coach. Oh, he's supposed to facilitate everything. No, I always bring this to understand it. NFL is a business, so it's like running a grocery store. You have a general manager, you have assistants or department managers that manage that area, and those department managers facilitate their guys in that area.
Right.
When there's an area lacking, that's when the general manager, the store manager comes over and tries to step in, and it's the same exact thing in football.
Yeah. That's why you heard me say Rod Marinelli or Monty Kiffin.
Yep.
Tony was looking to oversee everything, but Tony wasn't going to come. And Tony was on the defensive side. You would hear from Tony a little bit more because he's a defensive guy, and so he always wanted to pretty much do that drive-by to see what we were saying and talking about on the sideline. But he delegated it to happen from his coach. A lot of people will never understand that, especially if they hadn't seen it or they haven't even played a game. You have a lot of people that are fans of the game, but didn't play past the level of high school sometimes. And
some of them at high school, they didn't even get the proper coaching.
Right. And think about it. Depending on the side of your high school and where you are, you may not have a full Texas high school coaching staff or Florida high school coaching staff. You know what I mean? So you don't even get the right delegation in, or you have that overzealous head coach that wants to be in the middle of everything, and he doesn't give your position coaches a chance to do their jobs anyway. So, yeah, man, there's levels to it and everything else, and it's not Bowles' job. And, like, a lot of people always tell me this, he doesn't yell and scream enough for me. It's not his job. Yelling and screaming doesn't mean that he's not
fix anything.
His need to. Yeah, it doesn't fix everything. But yeah, man, it's tough to hear the critics and read some of the group, the group pages and see what people have to say about different things and why it's his fault for preaching. I mean, I've read a lot of different things on social media today about why it should be Todd Bowles' fault and why he's got to be held accountable for everything that happened with the pre-snap penalties. And I'm just like, y'all have to know, like, this is something that's worked on all the time. And like I said, it's supposed to become second nature. That's why I said you shouldn't have to be told to do certain things, because that's what individual work is for. You pretty much work individual every day you go, so that
week 13, I should have to tell you that.
Yeah, but shit still happens. That's why, just like everything else. If I didn't need anything done, I wouldn't have anybody supervise. Like, if the school could run itself, I would need to go every day to remind students what they should or shouldn't be doing and how they need to do it. Because they know what they're supposed to do, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it correctly every day without someone reminding them or staying on them, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the whole bowl situation, that's a whole conversation itself. Do you feel like he gets? I hate using the whole racial thing and all that stuff in there. I really don't. But it's just, I've never seen the negativity for a head coach as I have seen anywhere else that the coaches that have been here that have been white. Dirk Cutter was oblivious coaching this team. He literally stood at the podium and said he had no idea what to do to fix. You had Greg Schiano, who destroyed this team.
Oh my God!
Poor decisions.
I was about to say that name when you said
poor decision. Set this team back.
The Heisman Trophy is the most coveted. Oh, my bad.
Destroyed the team,
right?
And it was just never this level of hate that he has. So when I watch these groups, I just like to read and see on that, because people go, well, why it's always race? Why is it this? I'm like, because we have never seen the amount of hate for a man that has been nothing but successful since he took over the head coaching job. And all the previous head coaching guys that's been here, and that's include Lovie Smith, which he gets a bad rap because he took over a terrible team at that time and got a lot of good draft picks, which ended up helping the team win a Super Bowl later. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
That's a whole nother conversation.
You're right.
But there's been guys here that are not black, and they were absolutely terrible at coaches. And Todd Bowles has won since he's been here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense has been top 10 since he's been here up to this year. And that's because they've been dissipated with injuries.
Yeah. Injuries and age is what I think, Blake. When I think about this defense now, it's And it's easy to. I'm just gonna keep it all the way 100.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and just say what it's.
Just say what you think.
Being in this game, being in the business, playing and seeing how things were done.
Yeah.
No matter what people say, that no, I'm just stating the facts of what I think is right. It has nothing to do with race. It's a lie. It has everything to do with race, because generally a lot of people are more comfortable being around people that look like them if they haven't been used to. Like athletes is different in a sense to where if I grow up in an inner city and I get a scholarship to go play at a PWI, I now have to learn how to interact and talk with people that don't look like me. And if I'm one of the better players on the squad, I learn to do that very well. I carry on to the next level. It's kind of the same thing. You have people of color working in places, but majority of what people look like don't look like you, but you still can be yourself around them and around your own people. Some people are just not comfortable, and they can say they are, with seeing someone of color make it, or if things aren't working, it's easier to blame the people that don't look like them. That's what I mean. That's just what I feel and believe. So, and the big minority gap, coaching gap in the NFL with the amount of African American head coaches you have, it's always going to be like that because there's not enough people of the same color doing that head job. So it's always going to be like, well, he's got to be the problem. He's got to be the reason why it's not working. And it's just, it sucks that it has to be like that, but that's just, you're always gonna catch hell or flack for and be made the victim sometimes.
Yeah, and I think you said that, and I'll reiterate it a little different so people don't miss what you said. Because the people will say, well, would people like Sap Brooks and they're all black? No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that when anybody of color is put in a position of leadership or running something, people have a problem with it. It's okay to be the help, but you can't be the one leading the charge. That's what they're talking about. Like that when a person of color is put in a leadership position,
right?
That's where they have some people have they feel a certain sort of way about it. And like I said, I hate having these conversations, but I can't say that they're not wrong for feeling that way because if he was straight ass like Eberflus in Chicago and things like that, boy, I'd be on board with you.
Right.
But he's had top 10 defenses up until this year because of injuries. And I'm going to get into that later. I know you got a point, and I'll jump in after your point. But that's the reason why they feel like that, because it'd be one thing if he was sucking at his job and the team wasn't making the playoffs. He's won a division since he's been the head coaching job. He's won a playoff game since he's been a head coach. What is truly the problem?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's rough, man. He's at a disadvantage to things, and that's just like the whispers in the rumbling back in the day when Coach Dungy was here. It seemed like, and that's why Indianapolis, him getting fired may have been one of the best things for him to kind of go somewhere else where he could still be himself, be who he was, and then you see what he was able to do with an offense to go along with that defense that he was able to instill. Right. I've had mixed emotions about Bowles, but at the same time, and I told you this before, I think that I allowed a lot of what I saw and heard from other people from not being just around that situation anymore to influence my judgment, and I took the player side out of it, and I started thinking like a fan. And as soon as I started looking at it again and took the fan side out, because realistically, when you cover this sport and talk about this sport, you have to be objective, but it's hard to be a fan and give an honest opinion of things sometimes for certain people. And I know I know I get caught up, and I know I can get caught up on the fan side of things. Then all of a sudden I'm just like, wait a minute, fool, think about this when you play. And I started thinking like, boy, you tripping. We would have never did that. We would have never responded like that. Okay. Yeah, they did what they're supposed to do. That's how they respond. And you just have to catch yourself because, like I said, it's easy to get caught up into being a fan now because, like, for so long, being a player, I never had a chance to really be a fan. And now I do. So I have to catch myself on letting the fan cheerleader part of me want to come out in certain situations and really look at it objectively and give a clear, honest opinion of an analysis of why something that's happening the way it is, and then how it could probably be fixed, and that's something I'm learning how to do big time, really working on that.
Yeah, it's the same. Anytime you want to do this media stuff, you want to use your experiences, stuff that you know that is real, and try to apply that into the way a fan looks at it, the way you want to articulate, the way you want to pass it off to people. Because the way me and you took criticism and took information is going to be different than the way somebody else is. So that's why I like having these conversations. I try to educate those who really don't know how things work. I hang around these guys. I've made it know I hang around these guys. They've been to my house. I've had guys that we go out and drink that play in this league to this day, and I don't share stories and things like that because that's
right.
Life. And I'm not here to do that. I could make a lot of money sharing stories that would hurt people's careers, but that's not what I got in this business to do.
Right.
I got in here to try to tell this game from a different perspective, that media guys who work for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Broncos, etc., they're on payroll and they got to say what they got to say.
Right.
I don't have to do that. I report to myself. I can tell you what I know for what is a fact and things like that. But yeah, you got to learn how to transition. That looking at it, a fan, looking from being a player and stuff like that, and you coach too from that perspective, and try to articulate all of that so somebody else would understand when we get on these platforms and talk about them.
Right.
But I brought that up. We talking about injuries and things like that. They've literally got to this point on defense where you don't have any other choice at this point because there's nobody else out there to get, and you don't want to plug in anybody else. Mike Edwards is an exception because he's played in this defense for years already, and it's just he's got to walk in and just I don't even think the terminology changed since he's been here probably, but he walk in, he can make plays. And then to bring in somebody else, and when you bring in these guys, they're like, well, these guys are getting beat and stuff like that. Well, these guys have been here since training camp. They should know what to do.
Right.
By now, like you said, they should know what to do. It's nothing new at this point in the game. And they don't have anybody else at this point to put in when you're out three safeties and a defense
right.
4-2-5. In other words, it's called a big nickel where you play three safeties instead of the corner. You run that and you have two to three safeties out. That puts a detriment in what you're trying to do on defense. To go, not to add that you don't have a pass rush that's going to help your secondary. So when I think about that, when you don't have anybody else to put in, I think about the old movie. I know you've seen it, Any Given Sunday, when Al Pacino said this quote.
Listen, believe me when I tell you this. You can only get better. And you don't have to worry about getting a hook because I got no one left.
There's no one left.
You ain't got to worry about getting the hook. There's no one left.
There ain't no help coming. There ain't no cavalry coming.
Because, Blake, I was looking at the game yesterday, and there was a point in time, I was like, who the hell is that back in the secondary? I was like, why is he even playing? I'm like, damn, that's right. So-and-so's hurt again. I was just like, oh, my God. So you look at the yards and see what the defense is giving up. You're like, dude, we gave up 300 something week to this team. What the hell is going on? But injuries play a big part in that, and it's been rough.
And I know for the people who don't like Bowles, that's what they use because they can't say offense because they know Bowles don't coach your offense. Bowles will let you know he don't step into the offense. He's a defensive guy. That's what part I like about Bowles. He don't try to act like he's going to step outside his boundaries. He knows where his strength is. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, he's the head coach. And I'm like, stop. Because you already let me know what your objective is. You like Baker Mayfield, and you'll say anything to take the light off of when he plays bad to put it on the defense, or you don't like Todd Bowles. And so, but I cannot be a realist saying like he was without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and to say he's playing worse because those guys are in and act like it didn't exist would be unfair, and I would be not knowing what's true. You're out your two damn starting receivers. Of course, the offense efficiency is going to be a lot lower, and he's going to have different decisions because the guys that he needs aren't there, just like if he was missing his offensive lineman. But to act like that don't exist on defense, well, he's a defensive coordinator. Do you realize who his backups are? Do you realize who's in? You were out. Carlton Davis, getting rid of Carlton Davis hurt because you needed another corner. at this point, and that's what you got.
Yeah.
Dean comes back in. Suddenly, you're not getting beat on that side. As bad as people hate talking about Dean because he gives up plays from time to time, but it's not. They're not getting roasted. They're still getting roasted over in the middle of the field because eye discipline. When I taught you about KJ Britt and coverage and things like that, that's eye discipline, understanding route concepts and things like that. And some guys just don't have that or don't take the time to understand it. I played the linebacker position. I was very good in coverage because I understood where I'm supposed to be and what I can get hurt on versus what the coverage is. But people don't do that even at a professional level.
Right.
And I say that because the Bucs have spent a lot of picks on offense because the Bucs have never been known as an offensive team. They're known for an offensive team now for the first time in many, many years. Many, many years. They were known as a defensive team. And now they're getting taken advantage of on defense because they have not been hitting on the places that they've been hit. Till Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett came in after, they have not had a 10-sack guy in many years, and that's been an issue that needs to be addressed. Jason Light, if you watch this, you need to address the pass rush. You need to address the pass rush. It will help your secondary. The Giants beat the 17-0 Patriots with corners that I couldn't even name right now, and many other people couldn't even name on that Super Bowl team. But you could tell all the defensive linemen that they had in that game with Michael Strahan, Matthias Thewanuka, Justin Tucker, and those guys.
Yeah.
OCN Miura, all those guys. You could name all those guys.
Yeah.
I guarantee you no guys could name who the starting corners were in that game. And that's because if you can get to the quarterback, it helps the secondary. They can be aggressive. They can jump routes, knowing that they don't have to cover. There was multiple plays on third downs where I'm like, damn, he's holding the ball for more than 3 seconds. These guys ain't going to hold up. And that's why you have guys wide open in the middle field because the coverage that they're having isn't built for them to hold coverage that long.
Right.
That's why it happens. And I bring that up to bring this point. Let's talk about the past 10 years of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers draft picks on who's hit as a defense players. We'll go back 2014. That's Mike Evans' draft. They drafted Mike Evans, Austin Jenkins, Charles Sims, Kadeem Edwards, Kevin Panfield, Robert Heron. There's only one guy still on this roster from that team, and I don't even have to bring that up who that was.
Right.
2015. Jameis Winston, Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Quan Alexander, Kenny Bell, Kalen Clay, and Joey Osafia, the fullback out of Hawaii. There's only about four of those guys contributed. Winston, Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Quan Alexander. Two of those guys won Super Bowls with the team. 2016, Vernon Hargraves, Noah Smith, Robert Aguayo, Ryan Smith, Caleb Benenut, Devontae Bond, Dan Vitale.
Well, Hargraves is such a myth.
Yeah, and he's a Tampa guy, son of a coach. It was crazy how that turned out.
Well, I thought after seeing him at Florida that he would be. I don't know how that happened, man.
Yeah, either do I. All I can think of is
big time.
Only thing I think of is lack of focus in the game. I guess I don't know. Maybe not preparing himself properly for. I don't know. You know better than me how these guys are in the locker room, how their preparation. You see how they prepare. If they're out drinking all the time and doing all that type of stuff, and not preparing yourself for games, like that's the stuff that I like talking to players that played on the team because they could tell you. I'm like, yo, he wasn't in the film room like he was supposed to. And it showed up. You don't want to talk bad about your teammates, but you know why they wasn't producing on the field like they should.
And there's times where, you pull people to the side and you tell them about what they're doing to try to hold them accountable, because one thing that I know can happen in this game is that the outside world and distractions can seep in very easily. Especially in Florida. Oh, boy. Tampa's a hidden gem that a lot of people don't know about.
and a young black man with money.
Yeah, definitely. Man.
Yep, 2017. OJ, Howard, Justin Evans, Chris Godwin, Kendall Beckwith, Jerry McNichols is playing in Washington right now, and Stevie, I can't even mention his name, from USC. OJ Howard was a bust. Justin Evans could never stay healthy. Chris Godwin, I don't even need to mention. Kendall Beckwith, damn, I would like to see how he turned out, but they got that car accident and ended his career. Linebacker from LSU. I was loving Kendall Beckwith. I don't even remember him. Jeremy McNichols was Snoop Dogg's kid out of California.
Oh, that's right.
Out of Boise State, playing in Washington right now, still playing and contributing right now. They call him McWeapon. 2018, Vita Vea, Ron Jones, MJ Stewart, Carlton Davis, Alex Kappa, Jordan Whitehead, Justin Washington, who's playing in Kansas City, and Jack Sitchie. Vita Vea starting. Ronald Jones at home. MJ Stewart in Texas and Houston. Carlton Davis in Detroit. Kappa in Cincinnati. Whitehead back in Tampa. Justin Watson in Kansas City, and Sitchie at home. 2019, Devin White, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Jamil Dean, Mike Edwards, Anthony Nelson, Matt Gay, Scotty Miller, and Terry Beckner. Devin White in Houston, Sean Murphy-Bunting in Tennessee, Jamil Dean in Tampa, Mike Edwards in Tampa, Anthony Nelson in Tampa, Matt Gay, not sure where he's at. I know he's not in with the Rams anymore. He's somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I think it's Indianapolis. That's where he's at. Yeah. Scotty Miller, I know he's not in Atlanta anymore. He's somewhere else.
Where's he? I can't remember where that is. I saw Scotty Miller. I swear I saw his name somewhere. But
yeah, he's still playing. I can't remember where it's at. And then Terry Beckner, he just got married, but he's no longer in the league. 2020, Tristan Wirfs, Winfield, Keyshawn Vaughn, Tyler Johnson, Khalil Davis, Chappelle Russell, and Raymond Calais. Calais is playing with somebody else. Chappelle, not sure where he is, if he's in. Khalil Davis, they had twin brothers. Khalil, Tyler Johnson's, I think he's in Houston. I don't know where he's at. Keyshawn, I think he's in the league. Antone, of course, you know where he is. And Tristan, of course, you know where he is.
Right.
2021, after COVID year. Joe Tryon, Kyle Trask, Robert Hainsey, Jalen Darden, KJ Britt, Chris Wilcox, and Grant Stewart. Grant Stewart was playing in Indianapolis. Wilcox was in Indianapolis. I'm not sure where he's at. KJ Britt, of course, you know where that is. Jalen Darden not in the league. Hainsey with the Bucks. Kyle Trask with the Bucks. And Joe Tryon with the Bucks. 2022, Logan Hall, Luke Gedeke, Rashad White, Cade Otton, Jake Camarda, Zion McCollum, Cole Keefe, and Andre Anthony. Anthony, I'm not sure where he's at. Of course, most of those guys are on the Bucks except for Jake Cannida, who got released for the punter that they just released hours ago. And Gil.
Hey, why did they get rid of him?
I think it was immaturity, and then he wasn't kicking the way he was supposed to, from what I heard. Maybe it's more to it you know better than me. It was just as me, like when there's not a lot of explanation of why a guy is released from a team.
It's usually something internal, yeah.
Yes, it's something they're not trying to throw him under the bus. They just say, hey, he wasn't performing the way he wanted to, and then you leave it at that. Right. So obviously he was doing stuff or got himself involved in something that the team wasn't with, and that happened. And that's pretty much what we're going to know until something else comes out. 2023, Cansey, Malk, Diaby, Dennis, Burnham, Hayes, Palmer, Jose Ramirez, and they're also on the roster. And then, of course, last year's draft, Barton, Braswell, Tyke Smith, Jalen Million, Buck and Irvin, Kalijah Klein, and Devin Cup. Now, it was a lot I said, but I'll break it all down for you. You did not hear any defensive studs on the defensive line in 10 years in that draft. And you're seeing the fruits of that labor now without a pass rush on this team. You have no type of dominant edge rush anywhere in Tampa besides Shaq Barrett. He wasn't a draft pick here. He was a free agent Denver, that was trying to make a roster spot and ended up being the league's leading sack leader that year. And then before that was Jason Pierre-Paul, who was a free agent signing, who already won a Super Bowl with the Giants.
Yep.
So the defensive side has been severely neglected. Todd Bowles has made the most of the cornerbacks that he's had, and Carlton Davis and Jamil Dean, Jamil Dean barely played at Auburn due to injuries. Carlton Davis wasn't a household name. Same with Anton Winfield. Bowles played corner, won a Super Bowl as a corner with the Washington, at the time, Redskins. So he knows how to play that position, hence why you get so much productivity out of your secondary guys. It's not coincidence that happens. But damn, you got to help them up front. They got to help each other. Yeah. They can't get to the quarterback on third downs.
And they rely too much on the blitz to get the pressure because they're lacking the guys on edge that can do it.
Correct. And Bowles knows that you can't give these guys all that much time to stand back there with guys. You're going to get ripped apart.
Yeah.
Levante David, the ageless one, is hanging in there doing the best that he can. And you got guys in there that can't fill the spot on the other spot when he's got to come down at the line of scrimmage to make a play, and your other counterpart can't coverage in the secondary. Like, it's the defense has been severely neglected. I know I said a lot, James. What you got to think and all that?
Well, I've been saying this for a while now, man, and I look at it to where I believe the defense got old fast, and a lot of that, when I say old, you just look at Dean and you look at Levante David, how long he's been in the league, how long he's played, and they haven't been able to fill other positions like you said. And, you know, I hate bagging on JTS because I honestly thought that he was going to come around watching him play, and I know we've had this conversation before, but you make that first-round pick, and then nothing comes from it. And then a high draft pick on a Logan Hall also, who I know is not edge, but still a guy that you would think could get some inside pressure from that 4-eye technique when they put him in or 5, however they do it, you know what I mean? And it hasn't really turned into the player you thought he was going to be. It's you've got to start making the moves and getting the scouting department to find some guys that's going to fit this style of defense where you can make things easier on the back end, like you said, and you don't have to rely on blitz. That's the thing that drives me crazy. Every time I think of Tampa, I've got to think of what are we going to do creative to get pressure on the quarterback this week, because it's not going to come just from a regular rush. And it's hard to, you know, when you think of Tampa Bay's defenses in the past, the ones that had success, it was always somebody getting after the quarterback.
Hey, James, how did they win a Super Bowl in 2020? They got after the quarterback.
With 4 people.
So
4 people. I mean,
won a Super Bowl being able to get to the quarterback with 4 guys. Wouldn't that tell you that that's probably a position you need to focus on? You picked up Braswell, who to me, I hate to say, he's a strong comparison to Noah Spence. He has one move, rush upfield. He has nothing else in the bag. Mm-hmm. Speed rush. He shows me nothing else with hand fighting and all that. And I just thought that was a pick just to pick. It wasn't even a solid pick. Picking up Braswell. I don't expect much out of Braswell. He still has time to show me different.
Right.
I see nothing in the future with Braswell as far as being a dominant guy coming off the edge. People probably didn't even realize he was the first-round pick or second-round pick in the draft last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with the lack of performance you've seen coming from him.
Right.
Vita Vea has been the only consistent pressure on the defensive line, and he plays a position who's not supposed to be leading the team in sacks.
Yeah, you don't want him to be your sack leader.
That's not the guy you want leading your sack.
Right. Damn.
And that's got to be point A in the draft, free agency. You've got to get guys to get after the damn quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It would have helped tremendously with your banged up secondary.
Yeah, big time. I mean, you stated the facts right there on that one.
Yeah,
that's got to happen. And it's funny because you're right. When Braswell was picked, he was like, okay, for what he did at Alabama, you want to see if it can transition here. And it's, that's not a person we've talked about at all. So,
nope. People don't. No, you don't hear his name anywhere on the chats. It's like he doesn't even exist.
Right.
He's 43 on there. Nobody looks at like, oh, that guy's going to get the sack. There's another body out there. And I said that before the season started. I said, where are your sacks going to come from? Well, what about Yaya Diaby? What about him? Yaya, yeah. Now, I'm not trying to talk shit on Yaya or anything. Yaya he's very good in the run, very fast for the size that he is.
Right.
Very good in run sport. He can hold his own against these big tackles and things like that. And he's done so. But to say he's your pass rush, I haven't seen the moves yet to show me that he can do that. Now, if he develops that, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, like a Zadarius Smith and guys like that come off the edge and get you that pressure on third downs. So I haven't seen that
right
yet out of him, coming into his second year. So we'll see what year 3 looks like. But their focal point, man, has got to be getting to the quarterback, man. It will help your secondary in huge ways.
So it's safe to say all your mock drafts this year will have the Buccaneers going edge.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a free agent option that's affordable, absolutely. And if there's a guy there that you need, they really need to look at at every level.
Right.
Where when I say level, I mean draft picks later in the draft, early in the draft, guys that can get after the quarterback. If it's acquiring a trade where a guy the team doesn't want to pay, all of the options, man. We got to get after the damn quarterback, man. You got to protect the quarterback, and you got to get after the quarterback. You will win games doing that. And I think they need to get another pick, an interior lineman, a guard, possibly center, because Graham Barton could play guard. Maybe you can get another center and you really pack up your offensive line. There's just multiple options everywhere.
Yeah, that's true too.
That you can do. Elijah Klein, that they picked up, a guy that I had mock draft before the draft that they picked. He's very good at run blocking, little suspect in pass blocking, but you can work it. But
I think he can get better at that. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I liked him coming out. It was him and McCormick that the Steelers got, who's also starting right now with Pittsburgh Steelers at South Dakota State. But yeah, that's what do we got in this game, James? What do you think? In your final thoughts coming up with this team and where they need to go, or anything that you want to go with this squeaked out victory.
Well, I mean, a win at the end of the day, Blake, a win is a win, and you'll take it no matter how it comes.
Whatever it takes.
It was ugly. It shouldn't have come down to what it came down to. It did. They found a way to survive, and they lived to play another day. So now this next week coming up,
Raiders at home.
Got to really make sure that you go out and maximize your opportunity and don't let the Raiders steal one. It's one of those things where it's a team that comes from usually one of the better divisions of football out of the AFC West.
Mm-hmm.
They have talent on that team. They haven't been playing great, and I think that's it's a game that is definitely winnable if we can take care of the ball and if we can get some pressure on the quarterback. And I hate saying the same thing every week, but those are the two biggest holes that we have on the team. You've got to, and it's like, no shit, Captain Obvious. But I still got to say it because it's a God honest truth. Everything else is, dude, Bucky Irvin has been a diamond in a rough. I mean, just having him on the team and getting him in the fourth round and still be able to. So now to be able to use Rashawn White more so in the receiving part of the game and not making him have to run between tackles, it's amazing. It's amazing to have that. So now let's add to it. Mike is back. Mike is ready to get to work. Baker, don't turn the damn ball over. Don't turn the ball over. And that second pick, I was so mad I wanted to punch the TV. Because here it is. You pump, you look. The defense, the corner he sits on the wide receiver and you still throw the ball there anyway. Throw the ball out of bounds. Put it on the bench.
Trying to force feed Mike. Both picks were trying to force feed Mike.
Yeah, and you can't do that in this league. It's going to happen. Mike's going to get his yards. Work the ball around and come back to him. Mike is going to make sure he catches it when it comes to him. You don't have to force it to him.
Yeah, that's both picks. That's where that came from. He's trying to force feed the ball, Mike. I get you want Mike to get his yards. But in the day, you're the captain of the ship. Your goal in this game is to win the game. Do you think Mike cares more about getting 1,000 yards at the end of the year or winning the game against a Carolina Panther teams that you should be beating?
Yeah, Mike wants to win the game. He's the ultimate competitor. His team. He even said sometimes his teammates know more about what his stats are and what he needs to get to break a record more than he does. And I believe that. I believe that he's out there ready to just win the game, and that's what Baker has to do. Mike is going to get it. If you take advantage of what we have on the offense and take care of the ball, he'll have more opportunities to get those catches because we'll still have the ball and not give it to the team.
Yep. And that's one thing he can control. Just don't turn the ball over. And I know I've made it clear that I'm not a huge Baker fan. But when he don't turn the ball over, I give him his praise. Hey, he took care of the ball this game. Whatever happened. And that's just what it is. But you cannot give other teams, especially two bad teams like the Raiders and the Panthers, turnovers and keep them in the game. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do that. And like you said, you made a great point that I know people will miss. Don't think that the Raiders come in this game, you're just going to slap them in the face. They play in a tough-ass division where they got to play the Chiefs twice a year, they got to play the Chargers twice a year, and they got to play the Broncos twice in a year.
Playing better football, yeah. And you said people look at records and say, "Oh my God, have you seen the Raiders record? We're going to kill them." You playing against a 53-man roster. You're not playing against a record, believe it or not. So you better be ready to play. Tampa better be ready to play, and fans better be ready for it to be a hard-fought game. They're not just going to lay down. Raiders aren't going to just lay down for the Buccaneers.
Nope. James, you want to tell everybody where you can find all your content at?
Yeah, man, this is your boy, Big Game James, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive lineman, and you can find me on YouTube at BGSE Network and also Big Game Sports Buzz. You can find me on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and that's James Cannida or at BGSE Network, man. Just whatever your thoughts are, you got some question you want to ask me, man, just shoot it to me, and I'll do my best to get back at you and give you my 2 cents.
He's a busy man. We got to come up with a good name for your reels, man. I don't know if he's going to come up with as good one as the Real Reels. We got to come up
I don't know. Real Real is up there, big dog. You know what I'm saying? I can't even try to bite that shit, man. We said this black with another Real. Like, all the way real with y'all. Shit. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, man, I won't worry because I got Big Games Extra Point, and I'll kick that off every now and then, but people don't like that truth sometimes, man. Sometimes that truth cut them when I give them my extra point.
Hurt a little bit.
Yeah, man. And it's supposed to sting when I give you that one.
Hey, man, sometimes what I always play on here that people don't like the truth, you know what I mean? Some people don't like the truth. What I always say?
You can't handle the truth.
It's just what it is. You can't handle the truth.
Can't handle the truth. And
the truth is that we'll see you guys next time. Make sure to follow James. Check him out. Follow him. James will always give you, like you said, same thing with me. Email me if you got email a video yourself. If you got a topic of discussion and stuff like that, we can talk about it. Like I said, we don't hate you that we have a different. I think people got to stop thinking that because we have a different opinion. I hate you or something like that. Yeah. Absolutely not.
We don't have to agree on everything, and that's what makes sports debate great. But also, don't be one of those people that get caught up in your feelings and believe that your way is the only way, because with fact check, you make sure you know it's not.
Yep. And it's with not numbers on somebody's website with stats. It's basically being around this game, coaching, playing, talking to these guys every day. So that's just where we get our information from.
Right.
And we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with is entirely up to you. See you guys next time. And as always, fire those cannons. Peace.